South Carolina waitress recently received a tip that is frustrating, infuriating, and is now going viral. According to Live 5 News, this young server had just finished clearing out the table when a couple had wrote her a note on a napkin before leaving. Now, by the way, they did not leave her an actual monetary tip. Their tip was written on this napkin, and let me read this to you. It says, here's your tip. The woman's place is in the home. Your place is in the home. It even says so in the Bible. You may think that you're contributing to your household by coming to work, but you're not. Really? Well, how is that?
Wow.
They're going to explain. While you're in here, quote unquote, working, this is the reason your husband must see another woman on his way home from a long day at his work. Immediately. Oh, your husband, by the way, while you're here, your husband's seeing another girl. How do I know? I don't. I'm just guessing. Are you fucking
How do they
serious?
even know she's married?
No, well, I'll get to that. That.
Okay. All right. Because I was going to say, there's so many assumptions here.
There are a lot. Continues. Because you should be home taking care of the household duties, you may think that what you're doing, working, quote unquote, is right. It is essentially a disgrace to his manhood and to the American family. Now, let me stop right here. Now, these are the same kind of people, by the way, that tell single mothers, hey, you know what? You need to get off your ass, stop taking welfare, and go to work. But wait a minute. If you want me in the home taking care of my child, I can't work. So you're fucked either way. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, you're one of those unmarried heathens, though.
I'm not.
You're one of those sinners if you're a single mom, right?
Right.
Isn't that
yeah. Absolutely.
People that are that extreme as the people that wrote this note.
Yeah. And okay. So the note continues. So instead of coming to your quote unquote job and looking for handouts to feed your family, how's about going home and cleaning your house and cooking a hot meal for your husband and children the way your husband and God intended, and help make America great again? Well,
okay.
I think I know who they're voting for.
Yeah, well, we already knew that, but and that's the Trump way too. If you don't like the service for whatever reason, you can refuse payment, even if it's because the person is a gender that you want to marginalize. Man, first of all, let's start at the very surface. If you think that somebody that's a server, tipping them is a, quote, handout, you should be... I don't even want it. You know what I want to see? I want these people... it was a couple, Jeff? It was two people?
It was a couple.
I want them both to have to work in a restaurant for a week. That's what I want. You know, I've never been a server before. But I have plenty of friends that have, and the reason I've never been a server before, I know I couldn't handle it. All right, yeah. I have toured at comedy clubs 40-some weeks a year. I see how hard people in that industry work, what they have to put up with. That is, you know what? If you don't tip 20%, you're looking for a handout. Or yeah, well, I'll be fair, 18 and a half, whatever. But if you don't tip that amount, you're looking for a handout because you just ate in a restaurant that you cannot afford. If you cannot afford to tip what is the industry standard, you just looked for a handout. You should not be eating there. If your server is unnecessarily rude or service is really terrible, well, okay, that's a different circumstance. Maybe you go a little lower. Maybe you can tell them why. Maybe you had a bad experience, but man, to think that tipping is a, quote, handout, you're an awful human being.
Let's be fair to the woman. I bet she didn't have a whole lot of input in writing this note. Just saying, somebody who thinks these kind of old, archaic ideas probably doesn't care about what his wife thinks. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but I mean, to passively accept something like that, let your husband not tip somebody.
I'm of course kidding. These people, look, you asked me earlier about how does she know this person is married. Well, the waitress told KMBC that she felt mortified, embarrassed, and humiliated. She also says she felt hurt and heartbroken. She also notes, I've never been married. I have no children. I have a very loving and supporting boyfriend who has been at my side as I'm working and trying to further my education. So you're right. They made a lot of assumptions that were absolutely off base and completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, people that come from that kind of I mean, I don't even know if you can call it sheltered. I think it's just intentionally void. Like you put your blinders on and you're leaving them there no matter what, which I think a lot of the people that support Trump have that, because if you support him, you're putting blinders on to the fact that he has absolutely no policy ideas whatsoever, that he's racist, misogynist, and xenophobic and nationalistic. I mean, you're putting blinders on to all of that. And these people are just putting blinders on to the world around them completely.
Yeah, and you know, they're going after, as you pointed out, hardworking women that are trying to do their best to do a job that is, first of all, does not pay enough, and number two, is a very, very difficult job that subsists on people tipping. I have a lot of friends that do waitressing, one that works at the local casino, and she survives on tips. And
yeah,
you know, it's very difficult. It can be very difficult to make a living. It can also be very lucrative, depending on the night. But there's so much variability in that job. I know for certain I couldn't do the job. I know for certain that I wouldn't want to do the job. I mean, that's why I talk on the internets. So, but.
I mean, dude,
all the respect
the
to people
grumpiest people in the world are hungry people. You know, I mean, so I could never do it. And when the kitchen's backed up and it's not your fault, you're the whipping post. I mean, and I always try to treat my servers with the utmost respect. I always try, and like, if you're ever with someone that's a little less patient and stuff, like I mean, like certain older family friends and stuff, I try to avoid going out to eat with, because they're just so hard on, and it's hard to be present for that. Like, you're kind of embarrassed and you're kind of like worried, like, oh man, if they're gonna mess with our food, it's gonna be our table that they're gonna mess with our food. But I can't fathom the people that think that way, that don't think that that's a noble job and a difficult job, and are just that arrogant and condescending and just mean to their fellow man.
And let's not forget, too, waitresses also get a lot of sexual harassment. Let's be honest. I've heard a lot of stories, you know, where there's just also, and it's always the same kind of person. It's always the 50s and 60s, you know, older dude, you know, that's there like, hey, you know, you want to get a hotel room? Yes, I've heard stories of where somebody actually asked a female server or waitress that, or let me get a look at your underwear, or what color are you wearing today?
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. It seems like, it kind of strikes me that these are the same types of people that would do it, even though they're the so-called Christian. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I get that feeling. And look, I call them so-called Christian because, you know, 95% of Christian people do not think like this. There's just that really small minority of people that and
they're dwindling. They are dwindling big time.
And that's what
they're
I was
not
going to say.
The significant voter base they used to be, and that's the one thing to take comfort in.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.